Today, a big clash awaits as the United States take on Australia in one of the most important matches of Group D. Both teams open their World Cup campaigns with victories, and that has instantly raised the stakes. A win tonight would put one foot in the knockout stage, while a defeat could bring unexpected pressure before the final group match. For the United States, it's a chance to strengthen their position on home soil. For Australia, it's an opportunity to prove they belong among the group's strongest teams. So, after 90 minutes, who will take control of Group D? If you look beyond the big names, you'll notice these two squads were built for completely different purposes. The United States have assembled a squad around speed, athleticism, and high-intensity football. Christian Pulisic remains the headline name, but the real balance often comes from players who connect defense and attack rather than those scoring goals. That's one reason the Americans looked so dangerous in their 4-1 win over Paraguay. Australia, meanwhile, have built their squad around structure and reliability. They may not have as many players competing at Europe's biggest clubs, but almost every selection fits a specific tactical role. That's why Australia often perform better collectively than many people expect. One thing worth noting is that both coaches prioritize system players over reputation. Some experienced names were left out because they no longer match the tactical demands of the team. The bigger question now is whether USA's attacking depth can break down Australia's organisation over 90 minutes. The United States arrived at this World Cup carrying expectations that few previous American squads have experienced. As hosts, they were always guaranteed a place in the tournament. But recent performances suggested a team capable of competing rather than simply participating. Their opening 4-1 victory over Paraguay reinforced that belief and showed the attacking quality many fans expected. Australia's path tells a different story. For years, they've built their international identity around resilience and adaptability. They rarely dominate headlines, but they consistently find ways to remain competitive in major tournaments. Their opening 2-0 win against Turkey was another example of that approach. What's interesting is that both nations have experienced disappointment in previous World Cups. The United States have often struggled to turn promising squads into deep tournament runs. Australia, meanwhile, have repeatedly found themselves one result short of something bigger. The question now isn't whether these teams belong here. The question is whether either side is good enough to move beyond the group stage and become a genuine surprise package. At first glance, the FIFA rankings suggest the United States should enter this match as favourites. Their position has been built through consistent results, regional success, and an improving generation of players competing at a high level. Australia sit lower in the rankings, but tournament football rarely follows rankings alone. Most eyes will naturally focus on Christian Pulisic. At club level, he's built a reputation for creating chances, scoring important goals, and delivering in big moments. But World Cup football is different. In club football, players spend months building chemistry together. International football gives coaches only limited preparation time, which is why some stars look less influential on the global stage. Australia have their own match winners, particularly players capable of thriving in disciplined systems, where every movement has a purpose. And that creates the key battle tonight. Can Pulisic find the spaces he normally enjoys at club level? Or can Australia's defensive structure limit his influence and force the United States to find another route to victory? Here's something many fans may not notice during the match. The biggest tactical battle might not happen inside either penalty area. It could happen in the spaces between Australia's midfield and defensive lines. The United States like to attack quickly once possession is won. Their strongest moments often come during transitions, when opponents haven't fully organised themselves. Australia, however, prefer reducing chaos. They work hard to keep distances between players compact and force opponents into slower attacks. That sounds simple, but there's a hidden risk for both sides. The United States occasionally commit too many players forward, leaving spaces behind the midfield. Australia, meanwhile, can become so focused on defensive organization that they sometimes struggle to create pressure going the other way. So, the match-deciding question may be this. If Australia successfully slows the tempo during the opening 30 minutes, will the United States remain patient? Or will they begin forcing attacks and create exactly the opportunities Australia are hoping for? This isn't a rivalry built on decades of history, which actually makes the contest more unpredictable. There are fewer emotional storylines and fewer historical patterns to follow. Instead, everything comes down to the current moment and what is at stake inside Group D. If the United States win, they move into a commanding position and place significant pressure on the rest of the group. With one match remaining, qualification would suddenly look very realistic. If Australia win, the entire group changes. What looked like an American advantage could disappear overnight, and Australia would take a huge step toward the knockout stage. A draw keeps everything open and guarantees a dramatic final round of fixtures. As for the prediction, the United States possess greater attacking depth and home support. Australia possess discipline, patience, and tournament experience. Expect a close match. And if one moment decides the night, don't be surprised if it comes from a mistake made under pressure rather than a moment of brilliance.